Gonna do a live workout here. Gonna hit the bag a little bit, get some exercise in. Then I may stop and talk about a few techniques that I've been thinking about. What possibly might cover a way to make our kicks faster. We'll see here in a second. But for now, I'm just gonna start hitting the bag. All right. Still gotta get warmed up a little bit, folks. All right. But we can do that from simply hitting the bag. We can get warmed up while striking, right? Just start off going a little slow, so we can get our warm up in. Gonna roll this bag back some. Let's go some more. Try to like to get it to a rhythm with it. You can almost kind of hear a rhythm. You hear that? Got to get our legs warmed up and ready to go as well, because we're going to be kicking and punching today. Can be doing both. When you do a lot of kicks, if you ever have an issue with your skin splitting on your toes, it means you're dragging your foot when you pivot. Something you can do that might help you. And it's maybe, if that's an issue for you, when you go to get your pivot, maybe your toe, where your skin is catching and ripping, just think about lifting it up off the ground just barely, right? That way you're not sliding your toe across the floor. Instead, it's the thicker, harder ball of the foot, your stronger, more calloused places of the skin that'll scrape across the floor so that you won't split your toe open anymore if that's an issue you've been having. All right, I'm gonna do swing kicks. The hamstrings loosened up. They're already fairly loose today. What do you know? Maybe just from throwing those regular kicks, that might have helped loosen me up a little bit. So I haven't even stretched or anything yet. These swing kicks will get my legs a lot nice and loosened up. Ready for our kicks. Swing kick to the side. Get everything nice and loose. All right, I think I'm ready to go. How's it going? All right, McGregor. Anybody on there new, hit subscribe. There's follow-along workouts on this channel that are a lot of fun and effective. All right. This one, the live, I just go and do what I want to do. I just hit on the bag. You know, I don't think about it too much most of the time. So. You know, a lot of people don't like to do the lead leg kicks because they feel like they don't get as much power. So instead of doing a regular pick up and lead leg, they'll do a switch kick, right? Nothing wrong with that. Bit of a telegraph though, where you switch your feet first, because it does get you more power, but it's still good to practice just your regular lead leg because it's faster and sneakier, and you can still get enough power to do something with it, to make it worth throwing, even though you will get more with the switch kick. Every now and then it's fun to throw a fake, right? Try to bring his hands up, slip under, right? Stop. Hello everybody, how you doing? How y'all doing? There's multiple ways to kick. One person said guard up while kicking. Well, not necessarily, right? It's more than one correct way to do it. Now your backhand, so the hand on the kicking leg, you don't have to worry as much about, but the other hand, yes, that guard should stay up, right? But the other hand, it actually is correct to swing down, right? You can swing it down and bring it right back up. Another way to do it, yes, you can do this. You usually can't kick as hard if you do that. You might be able to. And then you can also post. Put your hand out there. You can even leave it in their face and try to blind them and kick. So it's more than one way to skin a cat, they would say. Also with your guard, something you should really think about, keep in mind too, right? If I'm right up on them in punching range, I sure as heck better have my hands up or I'm in trouble. If I'm way out here, I got a little bit more time to react. So if I'm way out here, I have time to react, he starts to move in, I can adjust, right? But from this distance, I have a little bit more time to react than I do right here. See what I'm saying? You're right up close. You can get whacked at any moment. Out here, you can still get whacked pretty quick, you know, but they have to move to do it, right? Speaking of which, do it from a distance. So your kicks from out there too. From this distance, the kicks are more of a threat of hitting you quicker than your hands, because with the hands, you have to cover more distance with your body. With your kick, of course, it's right there, you know? Speaking of which, multiple ways to throw your kick, right? You can throw your side kick, right? Right? Traditionally, you'd come up in chamber, right? You'd come up in chamber, extend it out, and then pull it back and sit it down. But it's not enough speed. If you want to get there faster, make sure you land the hit. So instead of thinking about just pulling your knee up, maybe you do have to do that if you're a beginner. Maybe you do have to do that to get the technique right. But later on, instead of focusing on getting the knee up, you want to focus on getting the foot out, right? Ha! Because you can throw it faster. So you get the foot out there, see? Ha! And then, yeah, it's great to get it from here, but you want to actually land. Well, you know, the number one thing throwing a strike is that it lands, right? If it doesn't land, you can have the most powerful kick in the world. And if you throw it and it doesn't hit nothing, what good is it? going to switch stances. I'm going to go southpaw. One of the things I wanted to practice today was the jab and seeing ways how you can try to get extra power in the jab. So see, of course, you can get power in the jab by torquing your body. See, it's the torque of your body that does it more than your arm. And your arm, it just releases, right? So your body torques over and you release. Other side. All right, change it up a little bit now. Sometimes you want to throw your strike just to get it in their face, to make it where they can't see, right? So you're not always trying to make your strike do damage. Sometimes you just want to make him not be able to see what's coming next, right? So sometimes it might just be a quick throwing it out there, especially with your jab. It might be bam, so that he can't see what's happening. My phone's ringing. Suspected spam, of course. So you can throw it out, come over. A lot of times when I throw to the face, right, it's blinding them. I feel like, if you throw it to the face, it's going to make their hands more than likely come up. So I like the idea of going low after you go high. If you're just throwing it to try to blind them, going low is probably better. Or doing a kick, right? You can even completely fake it and not even touch them with it. So, but if you touch them with it, make them react more because they think they're getting hit. Even if you don't put any power on it, they're thinking, oh no, he's hitting me. But it won't work if they don't respect your punches to begin with. So the thing is to set up stuff like that is you have to make sure that you have thrown actual punches before you do that kind of stuff, All right. You guys like the side kick? Side kick's my favorite kick, right? And you see a lot of people do a step behind side kick, right? Where they come through like this, boom, and then kick, which you can get a lot of power in that. But I don't like the step behind all that much. I like the step up, where I'm up to here, instead of stepping behind, I just want to step up, right? And the reasoning for that is because I don't want to cross my feet, right? Cross my feet, you push me, topple over, right? So, but with my feet not crossed, you push me, the very most I step back out, right? You don't want your feet crossed any more than it has to be. So I try not to cross my feet at all. So I prefer the step up. And you can get about as much power in it as you can step behind, pretty close anyway. Ha! Ha! Farther out, the guard doesn't have to be on my head. Closer in, bring it up. I've also found that it's helpful to change up the way you do your guard, especially if what you're doing is not working. So there's been times I would change it up in sparring, you know, going from sparring maybe sideways to slightly more squared up. And sometimes I would change it completely and start doing weird stuff with my hands because it would have to confuse them. And then sometimes I would find that I could block better. Sometimes I'd do stuff like this, and believe it or not, sometimes I would block better by putting my hands more like this, and I could block and counter. You gotta find what works for you. You know, there's no one strict, rigid way. This is the only way to fight. This is the only way to do it, or you will fail every time. Anybody that tells you that has never watched professional fighting, have never watched MMA, have never watched the wide variety of different ways that these champions do things out there. And it's usually the champions that are doing things different. So, but still, for the most part, all right, when you're close in, you gotta have that guard up or you're in trouble. But there are people that don't. But when you're close in, you probably really should. And most of them, when they're really close, they do pull their guard up. You know, even a lot of the greats, right? So, but farther out, got a little more leeway. Okay, so keep that in mind. But when you kick, don't worry as much about what the hand on the kicking leg is doing, okay? You don't have to worry as much. If I'm kicking with this leg, I don't have to worry as much about what this hand is doing as I do with this hand, okay? Because this is the danger in for your opponent, because that leg's kicking them, okay? You need to make sure you're guarding this side in case he slips out of the way and comes to get you from the side there, you know? So when you throw your kick, bring the hand back up. Bring the other hand back up after you throw the kick. Swing it down when you're kicking, bring it back up after you kick. Or you can post, right? You can post, try to make them where they can't see what's going on. Or of course, you do have the one that some people say you should do, right? You do have the one where you just guards tight the whole time and you kick. But I think that's mostly more for when you're doing up close leg kick, right? You're doing real up close. Maybe you don't want to turn the hip all the way over. You want to stay punching maybe. So you keep the guard up, do a kick like that, right? So you can keep punching. So it depends on what your strategy is. What are you actually trying to accomplish? What are you trying to do, right? So usually, right, a guard up kick is when you're kicking from your punching range and then you're swinging down kick. It's from out here. Bam! And trying to get full power. So you swing that arm down and you turn your hip over, right? And don't forget, speed is power, right? Speed plus mass equals power. The faster you can move your mass into the target, the harder that target is going to be hit. And also, don't think you need to hit full force every time you throw a strike. That's silly. Just relax, relax. Clean, crisp is okay. You don't have to go all out trying to hit as hard as you can with every single strike. You don't really have to do that. As long as you're throwing it clean and crisp and it's got some pop on it. Because it's really more about making sure you land in the correct spot more than anything else. You know, you want enough power on it to actually do something, but it's about landing in the correct place around the jawline and stuff. And also with your punches, with the correct part of your hand, top two knuckles, right? Those are the strongest two knuckles. Those are the ones you should hit with. And when you're training on the bag, have fun with it. Do fun stuff sometimes just because you can, right? Just because you can, do fun stuff, right? Enjoy it. Your tornado kick can work though, right? I've seen it more than once work, but I feel like the best way to make it work is to make it think you're doing something else, like a spinning side kick, right? So if you hit them with other spin kicks, maybe they'll start to back up when you go to throw your spin kick. And that's when you can change it over. You know, you can chase them down with it. So. That was a crescent kick. I don't throw those, only on the bag. My issue with crescent kick is, like, some people are great at them. They can hit you with them. I was never that great at landing crescent kicks. One of the issues with a crescent kick is, for me to hit you with it, I kind of got to be close enough to punch you. It would be easier to punch you than throw the crescent kick. And most times when I've tried to throw the crescent kick at somebody, it's missed. But I know plenty of people that can pull it off. And I know you can get outside of punching range and still hit. You just have to lean, right? And I can kind of hit afterwards. But I'm still not the biggest fan of the crescent kick, other than doing it on the bag and doing it for fun. It's not something that I really ever use much of in sparring. It misses too much for me. Now, you might be great at the crescent kick. You might land it on everybody, not me. But front kicks, round kicks, and side kicks, and hook kicks, all that stuff lands a lot in sparring for me. You know, only issue with my hook kick is my hook kick, I don't have the most power in my hooks. Some people, that's their power shot. Not for me, right? For me, my hook kick is not a power shot. It's just a little smack. Just a little smack. So I like my other kicks. The side kick, the round kick. Now, of course, there's the exception, the spinning hook kick, because the spin gets the power for you. Almost turns it into a heel kick, right? So that makes it a little different. Ah. All right. Everybody doing all right today? Hit that subscribe button if you folks are new. We have follow along fitness kickboxing workouts you can do on this channel. It's pretty good. Hilarious. All right. Oh, let me see. Yeah, all right. Thanks, everybody. Let's see, who was I watching? I was watching a video on Joe Louis. That's right. I was watching Joe Louis do a video yesterday, and it got me wanting to try a few things to get faster. And he was talking about when he trained with Bruce Lee and saying the things that Bruce Lee was showing him to try to make his strikes faster. To where, that's why I tried this a second earlier, but I didn't tell you what I was doing. Where he put his power side forward. Because apparently in Wing Chun, they put their power side forward, and they try to do everything from a straight line. Let me see if I can do that, because they have this behind that, which I'd rather have my hand up here protecting myself. But they do it more like this. So, and I guess probably the way they're squared up, that's probably part of where they can get the power from the lead hand. Because if they're squared up more, you got more room to turn your hip over, right? And they go one after the other straight down the center line. Right? So, try it from this side. I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't do it like Joe Louis did. Tell you what, if those of y'all know who Joe Louis is, some of you younger folks might not know Joe Louis. He was one of the greats. Well, I can't do it the way Joe was doing it. But he talked about that, and then he talked about something I talked about earlier in this video too, with the kicks. Saying instead of trying to zoop, 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 instead of, sorry for the sound effects, instead of trying to start with the knee, he starts more with the foot. So the foot's immediately going out to try to make that kick faster. Right? Instead of, it's just sending the foot to the target as quickly as possible. Right? So, in all honesty, I think if some of you guys that train, if you're honest with yourself, and you're like, no, every time you have to have the knee up and out, you watch yourself sparring, you probably don't do that. When you're trying to land the strike, chances are you're not taking all the time to go whoop, whoop, whoop. Chances are you're just trying to get up as fast as you can before you get hit or before that guy gets away and manages to not get hit. So you may already be leading with your foot if you look at the videos, if you watch a video of yourself sparring, right? So, still think, you should teach it knee up, out, back, down, right? teach it the proper technique so you can do it, but for the most part, when you're actually using it, you want it to go fast. So lead with the foot, you know, lead with the foot more. I should move my back to this side so I can stand in a natural stance without my back facing you guys. Might be better, huh? Switch it around. There, that's better. All right. So there's or. So there's a big speed difference, right? And not much of a power difference. Now, why do you think that is? You know why I think it is? Because the majority of the power in this kick does not come from your foot traveling. I mean, sure, power comes from that, but the majority of the power comes from when you do this. You see that? When the hip turns over, that's where the majority of the power, I believe, comes from. So whether you're doing or it's not a huge power difference, right? All right. You know, you guys, something else I want to mention. If any of you guys have been here at the beginning of my channel or watched some of the early videos, you may notice in my earlier videos, I do an awful lot of whoop, whoop, and boop, boom. And I've gotten way better at that. I'm still working on it. Let me adjust the camera some since I changed how this is. All right, what, the new angle? Or the other angle? With my back facing you. So, I have improved to get my hands back after my punch combos. I'm still working on it. And I'm gonna tell you one of the things that helped me a little bit was eyebrows. Saying eyebrows. Bring my hands here, right? It helps me to remember, because sometimes I'll even just touch my head a little bit so I know my hands are there. And it's helped a lot to get me to put my hands back where they're supposed to be with these punches. So, just a little thing I thought I'd share. All right. Front kick. Front kick. Whoop. Round kick. All right, you see that? Maybe call that the question mark kick. Oh, but what it really is, basically, is you're faking the front kick. And you see those some people that really top it off and really make it look like a question mark because they can come, let's see if I can do it, probably not. Because they can come up and around and down. Sort of, yeah. I can sort of get it, but it's not how I do it. Wild. Trying to do the downward angle on the back. Doesn't work as good on that. Feels weird to try to do the downward angle. I'm gonna do it again. So strange. Anyway, I'm gonna do it the way I normally do it, which is really just faking the front kick and then switching to a round kick. Right? On the back. Up. Another technique that I've been working on a little bit because it helps give you extra power with your hooks is instead of throwing your hook like a swing, which I do a lot of, but instead of throwing it as a swing, you can throw it like a straight, all right? And the ways to do that is to set yourself up for it. Like you usually have to do off of a slip, right? And instead of swinging it, I go and I push it out, I pivot, pivot and push it out. It's more like a straight punch from the side. And then to hit on the other side, I'm stepping out of the way of something typically, right? I step on my back foot and then I pivot back into my other side forward, just throwing more like a straight punch, right? But it's coming from the side. All right, step off at an angle, bam. Step off at the angle, right? So now my right foot's in front. I know it's reverse for you guys, but then I pivot back to my left foot being in front and throw the punch, see? Boom, like that, boom. And so instead of just swinging when I do that, I'm actually pressing it out. I'm actually throwing it like a straight. And that's something I'm trying to get to where I can use more often, as opposed to just the, even though I believe the swings have their place as well, right? Because you're not going to be able to every time go off to the side and do that every time you throw a hook. Sometimes you're just going to need to pop one out. So maybe I'm wrong about that, right? Maybe if you're a boxer, you can do it every time. You know, because boxers are, you know, the boxers are the ones that are the best with their hands. Everybody knows that, right? I believe it's a good idea for every martial artist of every style to try to get better at their hands by learning more about boxing and trying to incorporate some of that into your style, right? And if you don't know grappling in your style, you need to get at least enough grappling in you can defend yourself against grapplers, at least a little bit, at least enough to keep from getting submitted, at least enough to get back up, enough to help keep you from getting taken down, and to know what to do if you do get taken down. So I like Bruce Lee's idea of not limiting yourself to one style, you know, just go for it. Learn anything learn anything that works. And if it doesn't work, discard it, right? But if it works, you keep it and you use it. Now, I don't believe that Jeet Kune Do today is what Bruce Lee wanted it to be. Now, I say that having never taken Jeet Kune Do, okay? Jeet Kune Do is not something I ever got the chance to try, but I would if I got the chance. But to my understanding, it is a set style, just like every other style. And Bruce Lee's idea was to not have a set style. The way of no way was what Bruce Lee wanted. So, which basically meant to continue evolving and adapting forever. Kind of like what MMA does. So if you really think about it, if you had a really good MMA gym, that's closer to what Bruce Lee had in mind, I think, than his Jeet Kune Do was. If I'm wrong, y'all can let me know. But, because I don't know, like I haven't ever been to a Jeet Kune Do school. This is just from my understanding from what I've seen on the internet, okay? So, Jeet Kune Do was not my art. I was more of a traditional style of Taekwondo, which, to be honest with you, I can't see any real difference between the Taekwondo I learned and karate. Got bought out by a karate school, did karate with them, and there was like no difference. You know, there's no difference other than the set forms they do are different. So that's about it. Tell you what, they were similar enough that my old Taekwondo master, when he sold his school to karate guys and moved away, he moved away and opened a karate school because they were similar enough. So that's why I say they're basically the same thing. I mean, sometimes, especially when you see the Olympic style Taekwondo, yeah, they've tweaked it. They've tweaked it for specifically point sparring, which I'm not a big fan of point sparring. I never have been. I've never liked point sparring. Point sparring is not good, in my opinion, right? It's the most unrealistic way of sparring you can is to point spar. Now, it would be different if somebody was taking points, but nobody was stopping you. You didn't know the points to the end. I feel like that's kind of what they do in professional fights where people are actually trying to hurt each other, right? Because if it goes to the judges' scorecards, there's a score, you know? So there's some method of keeping points, but they don't stop you in the middle of it. They let you go. Gotta check in on you guys every now and then. Some of you guys like to chat. How y'all doing? Oh, the axe kick? The axe kick's pretty good. Is the heavy bag good for somebody 250 plus? I think so. Back in the day, I've seen some big people hit bags like this. So I think so. Especially when you have a brand new one. I've been banging on this one for a while, so it's almost time for me to get a new one, right? But they last a long time. I've had this bag over 10 years. So, but yeah, one of you asked about the axe kick. Yeah, the axe kick can be good. It's also one, like I mentioned earlier, how I was never good at landing crescent kicks. It's never good at landing axe kicks either. Those up close kicks, I wasn't as good at landing as the range kicks, like side kicks and round kicks, right? Especially a side kick. It's my favorite kick. I've landed side kicks more than any other kick. The easiest one for me to land. But the axe kick is cool. Catch my breath, I'm talking too much. Now the axe kick, for those of you who don't know what it is, it comes up, like kind of to the side, and then straight down, right? Boom. Broken boards with an axe kick before, but I don't really use it in sparring, or I didn't, you know. So it's like, it's going to the side to clear whatever you're gonna kick, right? And then straight down, hitting with the bottom of your heel. Some people love it. Now my old Taekwondo instructor, he could land you with about any kick. He'd hit you with an axe kick, a crescent kick. He also, his style of kicking, what it reminds me of is Superfoot Bill Wallace, which by the way, that guy did teach a seminar in my old Taekwondo school, and I did train in his seminar, so that was fun. But my old martial arts instructor, he kicks kind of the same way the Superfoot does, which is every kick he threw from the same chamber, so you don't know what was coming at you. So if he was going to side kick you, right? Side kick chamber, kick. If he was going to round kick you, side kick chamber, kick. Same with the hook. Everything came from a side kick chamber. He would do that, and it made it where he could side kick you, hook kick you, and round kick you. And you never knew what he was going to throw. And sometimes, I don't think he knew what he was going to throw until you went to block his kick, and then he would change it to a different kick. So it made it near impossible to stop from getting kicked. Right? I try to avoid this and he'd do that. So that's something I should probably practice a little bit of. I've never really tried to get where I could do that, but maybe I should, instead of just, right, doing them all different. Maybe I should see if I can teach myself that method, right? Because it is kind of cool, right? A little too close. Let's do that again. Now, when you're doing your spin kicks, something you got to make sure you do, get your head around and look at the bag. The first time I missed, I didn't look at the bag. And sometimes people will hit it without even looking at it. I just did then, but a lot of times if you hit it when you're not even looking at it, you're just getting lucky a lot of times, right? Because typically you're gonna strike at what you're looking at. So if I don't look, I'm gonna try to do it without looking, see if I miss. I got it, but I grazed it, right? So you wanna look at your target. I keep looking back at the camera to make sure I'm still in the frame. All right, let's see. Let's do 1, 2, 5, 2. Right now, I'm trying to change it up a little bit, what I'm doing, because what I'm working on with these different punches, you may not be able to tell, but the main thing I'm working on here is trying to make sure that after the punch, my hand comes back to the right spot, right? Because that was my biggest problem before I started this channel, was having my hands too low. My back still in frame? A little bit. Everybody having fun today? Hey man, that's the best axe kick. I'm not sure I know who that one is. Why do you make sound from your mouth? Well, a lot of that's to make sure you're breathing correctly. You know, so you don't want to hold your breath when you're throwing your strikes. That's no good. You'll run out of breath. So it's better to make sure you breathe out each time. Making noises a lot of times helps. Not only that, but sometimes when you do that, it'll also help you to be more explosive. You know, matter of fact, Boss Rutan, there's a story from Boss Rutan where he was training with John Jones and he was holding the mitts for him or whatever. It's like, faster, faster. He goes, and then he says to John Jones, okay, in your head go, da 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 da. And John Jones did that and then stopped and looked at Boss like, whoa. So it worked. And then the people who own that gym, the trainers there, asked Boss, like, Boss, what do you do? All my fighters are making all these weird noises. Like, well, are they faster and more explosive? Yeah. So, da 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 da. So, now, sometimes when I get really, really into it, that's when I'm still more likely to have my hands start to drop. I'm really trying to work on that to make sure that my hands are not dipping before they punch, and also to make sure that I'm not punching and bringing my hand to here, right? I want to punch and bring it to here. But when you get really into it, sometimes you forget you have to make it a pattern. You have to program it in your head, right? That's why also the eyebrow tip was helping me, because eyebrows, and I kind of touch the side where my eyebrows are, the fact that I'm slightly touching makes it where I know my hands are there. And it's helped me a little bit with the hand thing. If you want to see the problems I used to have with it, go back and watch one of my earliest videos on this channel, and you'll notice there was a huge difference. Like my punches, even from here, were doing this. They were going whoop, boom. I was getting ready to punch and I was going, here I come to save the day, right? Instead of just going, boom, right? You want to come straight from where you're at. You don't want to load up. You don't want to load up. You don't want to drop. You want to come straight from your guards, your punch. Boom, boom, bam. You want everything to flow. Also, your punches, they're not pushes, right? You might end up pushing a little bit at the end of your punch. You might, that's okay, but that's not what it is. It's a throw. You're throwing the punch, right? Like a baseball player throwing a ball, you're throwing the punch. So, now I'm not saying do this before you punch, you'll never land. But you're throwing the punch, you're not pushing out, you're not relying on all these pushing muscles so much, right? You are torquing the hip, torquing the body, using back muscles as well, they're involved, and you're launching, right? And it's best to try to keep everything relaxed except for your fist at the very last second. I don't always do that correctly, but it's the best way to do it. Try to stay completely relaxed at the very last second when you tighten your fist. The rest of you stays relaxed. If you throw your punch faster, it's naturally more powerful, okay? Speed plus mass equals power, if anybody didn't realize that. Trying to think about throwing the punch instead of pushing. So I'm trying to think about right here. Just throw it, not push it. Stop. 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 Oh, and a tip for your kicks landing faster too. all right? Now, I don't always do this, but it does work sometimes. When you're throwing your kick, instead of going boom, you see that big lean back, a kick. Something you can do if you're trying to make it land faster, stay straight up and down. It makes it less of a telegraph. Right now, I know leaning can help you kick higher, but maybe the height you're going for, you don't need to lean from. Or maybe you need to work on that flexibility more, right? But sometimes if he's blocking, he can't block. He's a bag. He don't got no arms. If he's blocking your kicks, you may need to take away that telegraph that's the lean and just stay straight up and down. Pop and pop them. Pop. 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 So, and that was opposed to leaning all the way back. See what I'm saying? Let me check in with you guys again. How y'all doing? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. The lightweight #1 contender is the best axe kicks. That's cool. Are y'all going to watch the UFC this weekend? I'm planning on getting the event. It's Alex Pereira. It's the main event this Saturday. I plan on watching it. I could do a live reaction of it. It's just a thought. I'm not sure. I might. I've done that one other time. Did a live reaction. Had a lot of views. Had a lot of views on it. So I don't know. I may consider doing another live reaction of the fights this Saturday. So I've been going for a minute, haven't I? How long have I been going? About 47 minutes. It's not too bad. So anyway, folks, I got more to do today. So I think I'm going to wind it down. Hit that subscribe button. Help a small channel out, my friends. So we need the help growing. Trying to get up there. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. We're not there. We're a few hundred away. We're trying to get to 1,000 and hoping you guys will help me get there. We do follow along fitness kickboxing videos. We do live workouts like this where I'm just in here hitting the bag and talking about stuff, right? I'll do other little random videos in there of a martial arts lesson video. The main thing though is the fitness kickboxing videos. And I got any length that you could think of that you want to do, right? I've anywhere from 10-minute workouts to an hour-long workouts. And we were doing 1,000 kicks live every Friday, but I decided to change it up because it wasn't getting as many views as I expected. And so now the new plan is I'm going to release a new follow-along workout video at least once a week. And I'm going to keep them short and simple. I may do some long ones too, but I want to make sure at least one short one comes out every week. I'm thinking 15, 20 minutes, about 15, 20 minutes long workout because it's short enough that anybody can go along and do that. If it's not long enough, you could always repeat it, or you could pick one of the longer workouts because we have the longer ones too. And I will still produce some longer ones, but I'm going to focus on pumping out a bunch of 15 to 20 minute long videos at least once a week. And the most common length of workout videos that I have on the channel is probably about 30 minutes. So if you go through the video section looking for a good workout, most of them about 30 minutes, but we have them for anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour. So keep that in mind, all right? So. All right, folks. Well, hit subscribe and come back around. Let's see who we got here. How long should you train to be at a more respectable level? Well, let me put it this way. More than whatever you are right now, right? The first step, you just start, all right? That's the first step. You start, and you start at whatever length is manageable for you when you first start out. And then as you get better, add a little bit more to it, you know what I mean? And if you're trying to get better at martial arts, if that's what you're talking about, not necessarily, if you're talking about fitness, it's just start, just go. Same with martial arts though, but if you're talking about martial arts, how long does it take to get better at martial arts? It depends on what kind of martial art you're doing, you know? So you can get, I mean, you're going to learn something within 6 months from any martial art you learn. You know, I'd say you want to do it at least 6 months, but you know, if you're doing a more traditional martial art like karate or taekwondo, I think you need at least a year, in my opinion, to really be able to do much. You go do boxing or jiu-jitsu, you can learn an awful lot in 6 months. So it really depends on what you're going to train, you know? So, you know, in fitness is just one foot in front of the other and just do more, just try to do more next week, right? If you're talking about fitness, whatever you do on day one, just try to make sure that 1 week later you can do just a little bit more, if you can help it, right? If you can't, it's okay. Just try not to go less. But every now and then it happens. You have bad weeks sometimes, all right? So you just keep moving forward and keep progressing, right? So if you worked out for 10 minutes today, maybe next week you'd want to try to work out for 15 or 20 minutes, you know? So, but the most important thing is just that you keep getting back in and keep doing it again and again. That's the most important thing, is that you don't quit, right? So, and you got to take at least one rest day a week. You got to let your muscles recover and all that good stuff. All right, folks, I'll see y'all around. Hit that subscribe button. I got stuff to do today. Y'all have a good one. Keep kicking it.